Hello, and welcome back to the Blogger Genius podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie, and I'm also the co-founder of MiloTree, the simplest platform for bloggers to grow their businesses by selling digital products, growing their email lists with freebies and lead magnets, and building their social media audiences. And I have big news. MiloTree Now has a free plan. This means you could set up a free digital product, a free freebie or lead magnet, and a free social media pop-up for your site. No credit card needed. As we all know, in 2025, selling digital products and growing your audience is the way forward. So go to milotree.com now and join the thousands of other happy bloggers and online entrepreneurs growing their businesses effortlessly with MiloTree. Now, for today's episode, I'm thrilled to introduce my guest, Courtney Whitehead from Creations by Courtney. Courtney is a psychologist by day and a crochet designer by passion. She's turned her love of fiber arts into a thriving online business, helping crocheters confidently create wearable garments. So in today's episode, we dive into how Courtney built her business as a crochet designer, from selling finished products to creating and selling patterns that elevate crochet into fashion. The challenges of running an online business, from tech overwhelm to finding the right tools, including how MiloTree simplified her sales process, and the power of community and connection, how she nurtures her audience through her Facebook group, and why she's considering turning it into a paid membership. This conversation is packed with insights about creativity, entrepreneurship, and the balance of running a business while having a very busy family. So without further delay, here is my interview with Courtney Whitehead. Courtney, welcome to the Blogger Genius podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So you were the inspiration for the podcast episode I recorded that went live last week. I did a solo episode where I talked about how we were in Miami at a hotel and my husband couldn't get on the Wi-Fi and he was so frustrated. And then I had a call with you where you said, oh my God, I just need easy tech. MiloTree is so easy. And that made me go ding, ding, ding. I want to do a solo episode about this. And I love that you heard it and knew I was talking about you.
Yes.
So before though we launch in and talk about digital products and your blog, will you give us a brief background of your business, your career, and you being a mom and how it all fits together?
Yes. Well, it is like an ever evolving jigsaw puzzle, honestly. Because as you said, I am a mom. I have 3 wonderful kids, a tween who's almost 13 and 8-year-old twins who are in competitive gymnastics. So we actually spent this weekend in Hilton Head for their first competitive meet. So like we are always on the go. And then by day, I am a licensed psychologist in my own online practice. And then in the free moments, I'm a crochet designer and I want to help crocheters be confident in creating crochet garments. And somehow I do it all. I honestly don't know. I just kind of go and live and die by my calendar as well.
Interesting. And we were joking that that it's messy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I had no idea I would have had to deal with so much technology just to play with yarn. I spend more time on the computer than I do with crochet. I really do, in trying to run a business.
Okay. So first, what inspired you to become a psychologist? And then of course, when did you get into crochet?
Oh gosh, it was something in middle school that just, probably something in class. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a psychologist. And I stuck with it. I went through undergrad and then I went straight into grad school to get my doctorate. So I finished that in 2012. So it's been a while. I had to think about the math.
And do you have a specialty? Do you work with a certain type of client or all clients?
So I'm more of a generalist, but also solution focused. Like I really love helping my clients come up with solutions to their problems. Like what is bothering you? Like what is really, really happening and what are you willing to do to change it? And then like, let's actually change it and not just talk about how we want it to be different.
Or talk about our past for weeks on end.
Yes, because that is a part of it. But like in order to get to where you want to be, we need to acknowledge the past, like the impact of it right now, but then what to do now so that you no longer feel that way or continue to act in that way or allowing certain people in your lives that are, like I had a recent session where they made a really tough decision for themselves. And they went from like, I want to take a leave from work to actually I'm feeling hopeful based on this one decision and following through. I was like, I am so proud of you for doing this for you. So it's those moments that like really, really make it worth it.
So tell me then about crochet.
Yes. So I learned from my mom as a kid. She taught me crochet and knit. And so I kind of fiddled around with it, had no idea what I was doing. When I got to college, I decided to come back to it. That's when I learned about the world of patterns. I was like, whoa. So I would just like make stuff, trying to sell hats, to other college students. And then it was 2011. My husband's like, you're really good at this and you do this a lot. You should make it a business. I was like, okay. Had no idea what I was doing. No idea. Tried to sell finished items. That wasn't going so well because I really had no idea what I was doing. And then a mentor that I was working with suggested that I could be a designer back in 2017. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, you make ideas from your imagination, therefore you're a designer. And that's really what started it all.
So what is a crochet designer? Give me an example.
So when I see a ball of yarn, I will have an idea either from my imagination or inspired by something I've seen in fashion, maybe something on TV. And then I'll be like, ooh, I want to make that with yarn and a crochet hook. And so I determine how many stitches and how many rows. So the stitches make the width, rows make the length, depending on which way you make it, in order to create a garment. So like a sweater like this, I could make a crochet version. It's the same thing with hats or those that specialize in making the toys, which is called amigurumi. That's the Japanese term, are the little crochet toys. So you can make anything: slippers, pants, sweaters, bags, blankets. There really is no limit except for, how long your hands can go without cramping.
All right, so you go, hey, I've gone down the path of trying to sell finished products, and that wasn't quite working for you. But you're not just wanting to make like baby booties.
Right.
You want to kind of elevate. Clothes. You want to elevate crochet to making clothes?
Yes. I've even participated in a few fashion shows that were centered around crochet. So designers from around the country, we get to showcase like a line. So there was resort wear, outerwear, just a whole bunch of things. I even designed my birthday dress last year because I turned the big 40. So I was like, I want to make a unique outfit. And I was so lucky to have met an independent dyer at a trade show last year who actually provided the yarn for the dress. So my dress will be featured in the fashion show at the trade show this year in May.
Wow. Is it on Instagram?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so tell us your Instagram so we can all go see the dress.
Yes. Okay. I am Creations by Courtney, LLC on Instagram and Facebook. I had to add that. Someone else had gotten my name.
Oh, don't you hate that? Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. So we can, after, you could pause the episode or at the end, go see your dress. So now let's talk about you thinking in terms of, I want to sell something that is me, that is unique. Like, tell me about how you got to the place of, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell these patterns.
It was just starting to pay attention to what other people are doing. So like as a crocheter, we love to collect patterns and we love to collect yarn. Like those are almost separate hobbies. And so looking at what they were doing and then starting to connect with people who are also doing it, it was kind of like a collective effort. Someone who was like, hey, I'll teach you some of the background stuff of how I've gotten to this point as a crochet designer. That I was learning about like the standard terms, the measurements, and then I found other opportunities to learn, to dive deeper, because just because you have an idea and you put it out there doesn't mean that people will understand. So this is why the standards are important, in that you write a very clear pattern so that people can make what they see, which is why the whole AI thing is a love-hate thing in the crochet, because people are like, ooh, make this super cute Highland cow. You get the instructions and it's like a blob. Because someone used AI to make it who doesn't actually know crochet, and then they're passing it off as good work, which makes it harder for us designers that put a lot of time and effort to make really clear patterns, so that if you see a Highland cow, you're going to get a Highland cow. If I make a sweater that fits well, you're also going to get a sweater that fits well. And there's lots of math, so much math.
That is really funny. So you start, and what is the first pattern? You said, okay, I'm going to sell these. So do you have a community? Do you have an email list? Where are your people, and how have you connected to them? And then what was the first pattern you started selling?
So I have my website. It has gone through a few iterations and redesigns. And that's creationsbycourtney.com. Really easy, simple, same as my name. I do have a Facebook group. I recently changed the name to Confidently Crochet with Creations by Courtney. I know it's a mouthful, but I really wanted to emphasize the point of being confident, right? Because when I create a pattern, I tend to do things a little different than other people to make it look a little bit neater, or maybe even like add to your skill. Because I've had friends that would test my patterns. We're now friends, and they're like, I always learn something from your patterns. I was like, yes, because that's what I want. I want you to learn something while you're crafting, relaxing, and having fun. So what was my first pattern? I want to say, if I remember correctly, way back in 2017, it was a hooded poncho. So I used chunky yarn. It's oversized, and it's huge, and it's heavy. So it's almost like wearing a weighted blanket. You know, for the few days that it's cold here in Georgia. Actually, it'd be really helpful today.
Yes, I get that. Okay, so then you say, I'm going to start selling these things. And what did you do? How did you set this up?
So I learned about Ravelry. I'm not even sure how long it's been around. It's like a database. So you can put in the information about your pattern, the yarn, the hook size, and pictures so people can see. And then if someone makes your pattern, they can create a project that connects to your pattern so people can see like all the different versions. So this is where it helps when you can do pattern testing and your testers test the pattern for accuracy, and then they put up their picture so you can see it like in a blue or a green or stripes, you know. So it just helps other crafters find what they really want to make without be like, oh, it's just one picture. Like, what does it look like at the back? And how does it fit on different body sizes and things like that? So Ravelry is a huge database with the community aspect of forums. I've never been able to keep up with that part, though.
And is it just for crochet?
It's for crochet, knitting, and weaving. And I believe a few other fiber arts like tatting and stuff. So, but definitely fiber arts.
Okay. And so you start there, and you're not selling on there. You're just...
You can sell.
Okay. So you start selling and people start buying?
Yes. So when you release a new pattern, if a lot of people know about it and they're visiting that page and they're adding it to their favorites, they have a hot right now list of your top 10 and top 20 pattern releases for the day. So if a lot of people are visiting the page, it like moves up in the list. And so that's how people can then discover it, or people will be like, ooh, I'm making this. And then they'll share the link. And then that's how something can, in a sense, go viral on Ravelry. It's a huge thing for Rhinebeck, a fiber event in November. people will usually pick a sweater, a knit, and a crochet version, and then everybody makes it, and they all show off their sweater at the fiber event.
Wow. Who knew this whole world existed? It's amazing.
It's so much.
I love the internet. Don't you love it? That like you can find people who are obsessed with what you're obsessed with?
Yes, I love it. It is so funny to go to an event in person and it's almost like, you look familiar. And then they like say your Instagram name, like, yeah, that's me.
That is, it's like you're famous in this world.
Yes.
Okay, so you decide now, though, you're going to sell patterns off of this on like your like using other tools and stuff. And what was that story?
Yeah, so moving outside of Ravelry, I still have that because it's an amazing database. That's like the go-to for a lot of fiber artists. I have an Etsy shop. Etsy is its own beast because of the SEO, so that is something I will be working on this year. And then in the process of working with a crochet business coach, I learned about another cart service. And I was like, oh, yeah, so this looks great because I was like, I want to be able to elevate the experience when you crochet, not just the pattern, but doing a crochet along, which is a community activity where we all make the same thing. So we start together, you know, you get your stuff and then we're sharing progress. So it's like sitting together, but virtually.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. And so that was a huge investment and complicated. It can do amazing things.
So can I say what it was?
Yes.
So you bought ThriveCart, you bought the lifetime deal with the courses.
Yes.
Okay. And you're like, this is my solution.
Yes, I thought it was.
Okay. And then what happened? Like this is exactly what I hear a bunch of times.
Yes. So like I know how to do a product, right? I can copy it and update stuff, right? But like some of the other stuff, I have no idea what to do with it. I don't have time to learn how to use all of that stuff to really do the conversions and the upsells and the downsells. And I get why that exists, but I don't think I'll have time to really learn and understand that as well as I could until my twins are in middle school.
College.
Or high school.
I was going to say, yes.
Maybe.
I get that. And this is this weird thing that I share a lot, which is there are so many awesome products out there, but they're very complicated. And I have found this in my own life, which is there's this email service that I've used, and I signed up for it, and it was weirdly simple, not pretty, but simple. And I noticed that I kept going back to it.
Yes.
And then they started adding all these features that I then had to learn. And then I started to get angry with it because it just did this simple thing. And now this was hidden here and this menu was here. And there were all these features that I wasn't going to use. To be honest, I feel a little bit like that with Canva. I probably use 5% of Canva. I know what to do. I know what it's useful for. Now, maybe I could explode my business if I learned the other 95%, but I'm not sure. And right now, it doesn't feel worth it to me because, to be honest, I don't really think it will help me explode my business. I think what would be a better way is by talking to people like you and understanding your pain points and hoping to address them. But I noticed, my husband and I talk about this a lot, there's a thing called feature creep, which is it creeps in and you end up, as you're building technology, you end up with more and more features and you lose sight of what your tool does and how it helps people. And it's funny because when you're building technology, you're building like software, you assume everybody's where you're at.
Right.
And they're not. And so when we step back, and so when we build our pop-up app, all we said was, let's make it simple and people can just install it with a WordPress plugin. We're going to give you very few options, but it'll work. It will grow your audience. If you have traffic to your blog, I promise it'll grow your followers. It will work. And that's how we approached MiloTree. And what we have to fight is this idea of feature creep. Even though we have all these features and we have this roadmap and we plan to build this stuff out, but we, as I've shared in previous podcasts, we try to battle test these features to make sure they make sense and that it's intuitive.
I forgot, it was probably listening to your podcast how I first discovered the MiloTree cart, and I just loved how you talked about it being simple. And then I actually decided to give it a try, and it really is simple. And so now it's deciding to like maybe move everything over, but also use it for more things, because in addition to patterns, I have so many different ideas, like digital products that will assist crocheters, like a project planner that's more than like a one sheet, you know. But then I do have like a simple free download that I haven't put in there because I've been using your MiloTree freebie for my latest lead magnet, which is a guide all about garments, because that's what I want to be known for. So I'm like, project planner, that one can wait, you know. But it's just so easy. I can click and then it just takes me step by step, versus it's like a menu here, several steps there, then another button and more steps there. And that's like what's so hard with ThriveCart. With MiloTree, I can literally hop in. If a session ends early, I could be like, ooh, let me pop this in here really fast and be done. ThriveCart, I got to do my 2-factor authentication. That takes 2 minutes. Then I got to navigate to the right place just to get to making a copy of the product to do a new one. And I don't have time for that. I literally don't have time for that.
I see so many bloggers and creators diving into selling digital products without a plan. And they make the same mistakes over and over again. Mistakes that cost them time, money, and frustration. But you don't have to. I've put together a one-page checklist to help you avoid the 10 biggest digital product mistakes before you even start. It is simple, actionable, and will save you so many headaches down the road. So grab it for free right now at milotree.com/mistakes. That's milotree.com/mistakes. And set yourself up for success from day one as you start building your digital product empire. And now, back to the show. It's funny, but I want you to know I struggle with the same thing because I use a million tools every day. And I have started to say, this should probably take me an hour, right? Like I'm using a tool. I should be able to get through this in an hour. And now I've started to be more realistic and to say, if I think it's going to take me an hour, chances are it's going to take me at least an hour and a half. I've started to buffer in extra time because otherwise at the end of the day, I feel like I haven't achieved my goals and feel bad about myself. I feel like we should do a therapy session on this because even though I think I'm pretty fast at what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing, I can focus, but I run into some sort of snag where it's not working like I want it to. And, or I do something and then who knows, my computer freezes and everything I've done, I've lost. I'm sure everybody has had that happen. Yes, or I have to go to YouTube and watch a video because I don't know where this feature is. So I've started to buffer in what I call like tech time, which isn't creative time. It's the frustration time. I do this thing. I don't know if my husband thinks this is a good idea. In my mind, I put away probably $300 every year. It's not real. Like it's just in my mind for the things that I have to pay for that I didn't anticipate that hurt my heart. An example was when we were living in Los Angeles and I would end up with a parking ticket. And I would go, oh no, here is an extra $100 I didn't expect to pay. So I have like a $300 slush fund in my brain to help me deal with those things that are painful
Yes.
Like a late fee that I didn't expect on a like pay me if I didn't pay a bill in time and I got a late fee. That kills me. But I go, okay, it's part of this slush fund. So I know that that money is there so that I don't feel the loss as deeply. This is how like I manage my own psyche. And I now have started to factor that in to the work that I do, which is I have this now slush fund of time because I understand that things are going to go wrong that I don't anticipate.
Right.
And instead of feeling bad about myself because technology is hard, I just go, well, I'm going to chalk it up to it's part of this extra time, like to get to the airport or something, where it doesn't go my way. And so with MiloTree, the one thing that I hope we are solving is it is what it is. It's simple and that it feels good. And therefore, you can have an idea in the shower. Go to ChatGPT. Let's say you have an idea for your, what did you just say that you wanted? Like a
project planner.
And you go to ChatGPT, you could talk to ChatGPT and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. How do I create this? Can you work with me on this? And it gives you some ideas and maybe it structures it for you. You can go to Canva and maybe use the 5% of Canva that I know how to use and create it. And then you can go, hey, I go to MiloTree. I know how to upload this. It will automatically create a sales page for me. And now within 10 minutes, I'm going to have I'm going to take a screenshot. This is what I end up doing, a screenshot of the PDF, put an image in, and now I can go sell that.
Yes. That's what's so amazing about MiloTree. And I'm trying to convert a few of my friends.
Oh, good.
One of my friends already is aware of it. She's the one that actually put me on to your podcast, but I'm trying to convert a few other people because again, we spend so much time on the administrative stuff as designers rather than actually just being creative. And so I do have a course. I have 2 courses, right? One is in ThriveCart because I need like that setup stuff, like their course platform. The other one I'm delivering by email. And I actually did your sales page because the first sales page for my other course nearly took me out. Like I stayed up late. I lost sleep trying to get it right because again, everyone's like, you need to have this, and this, and this, and this. Like, I don't like long sales pages. I don't. I understand the psychology of it for those that are considering, they haven't decided. But if I know, I just want to be able to find the button and give you my money. And so I was,
and
so
I
happy
always say, by the way, put a guarantee.
Yes.
Because it will then, chances are most people are not going to take advantage of your guarantee, but it's you standing by your product saying, if you dislike this, I'm not happy. If somebody came to you and said, Courtney, this product is awful, what would you say? I'll give you your money back.
Exactly. I would.
But you don't want an unhappy
to give feedback, but then just be like, well, here's a refund, right? And that took time to get there, to not take it personal because it hurts. Because you put so much into it when you create a product. Like I've put so much thought, time, effort, and when someone says you don't like it, it hurts. And we have a tendency to focus on the negative rather than the positive. And so that's something I remind people all the time when I happen to see, they're like, oh, I got this bad review on Etsy. It's just like, what about all the positive reviews, right? What about everything else you're doing everywhere else that is working? Don't worry about that person, right? Because we're human. So take that moment and then just be like, if you're willing, give me feedback. And I actually had that happen recently with someone replied to a newsletter. They don't like all the ads on my site. I get it. I don't have a whole lot of control with the company I'm with, but I'm hoping to grow enough this year to move to a different ad network where the layout will be user-friendly while still generating revenue for me.
I get that. Unless you're selling $5,000 coaching packages, let's say, hey, if you don't like this, I'll give you your money back. There is something about that guarantee where people go, oh, you must believe in your own product that you would be willing to give me my money back. So therefore, it doesn't have to be like an insanely long sales page. And what we have found in our own testing is that most people are seeing your sales page on mobile. Therefore, you have to think about that experience versus I'm working on my laptop. I even have an enormous monitor. So my experience is different. But go to your sales page on mobile, and if you're scrolling forever, that's not a great experience. So what we've tried to do is say, we're going to do the thinking for you. We're going to set it up the way that we know based on research, sales pages work the best. And we use ChatGPT with our AI prompts to write it. So we've spent a tremendous amount of time setting really trial and error, trying to get those prompts to optimize your sales page. And the thing that I always say when I'm talking to people like you, Courtney, is what is the emotion that you are selling? And then what do I get? But leading with what is that emotion? So for you, when it comes to your patterns, it sounds like you want to give people confidence.
Yes.
And style.
Yes. Something that you want to make and actually enjoy wearing.
And how do you put yourself, this is the other thing I share a lot about, how do you put Courtney in the products you sell?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't even know how to answer that easily. But people definitely know it's me, I think, from just how I style. I do all of my own photos. I have worked with photographers before, but I'm always the model. Occasionally, I will find a model to work with. But again, that's time. That's traveling into the city because Metro Atlanta traffic is horrendous. So me and my tripod and my watch get things done. So I usually just show myself as a real person, but then how I do my introductions, I use casual, friendly language, especially even in my Facebook group. I do not take myself serious. I can't. Like, it's serious when I do therapy, mostly. You know, like I tell clients, I'm as serious as you need me to be, but I also use humor appropriately. So that's how I show up, is that I'm just authentically me. I don't mind the camera. Used to hate it, but I was like, you know what? I just have to be me. If they like me, great. And if they don't, that's okay, because someone else will.
That's it. I mean, that's the idea. I always say have opinions, and you will attract the people who go, whoa. Like, so for you, you are not, and we talked about this, you are not for the beginning crocheter.
No.
And now, if you think about it from a business perspective, that's like the biggest part of a funnel because people go, hey, I might want to crochet. And you're saying, no, I'm not for you.
Right. I mean, you're welcome as long as you're willing to learn. But no, I'm not geared towards a beginner crocheter. I want you to already know the basics, and then I got you from there.
And I'm going to elevate you, and I'm going to hold your hand.
Yes. If you have a question, ask. I love answering questions. Love it, love it, love it. That makes my day when people are like, how do I do this? Or do you know how to do this? I'm like, yes, I got you. I will talk crochet all day, every day.
Now, here's the thing. Because you have a Facebook group, have you thought about, maybe you have done this, turning it into a paid membership?
I've thought about it, but I'm not sure where to start with that. But I definitely have thought about it.
If people are excited about this topic, and they are a couple of steps behind where you are, and that you could be introducing new products, new challenges. So I know a bunch of people who use MiloTree, who have successful memberships. Many of them are craft memberships.
Oh, nice.
So they're crafting together, where you've got the leader who typically started with a Facebook group, but to go deeper, to get more intimate, to build the relationships, like when you're talking about you go to a conference and someone's like, wait a minute, I know you. That when people can show up together with this thing that they love, it's so powerful. But the goal then for you is to be, hey, today we're going to talk, I know nothing about crochet. We're going to talk about a certain stitch or a certain strategy or skill. It could be that you teach, talk, And then maybe you set up some time where people can crochet together.
Yes.
Or
I used
people
to do that. It was so fun. On Fridays, we would just hang out and laugh and talk. And my twins would usually come in and they would start changing the backgrounds and make me look like a talking fruit.
Yes.
And they miss it. I was just like, sorry, this thing doesn't do all of that. And they're like, oh, we're sad. But yeah, my friends are their friends. They're social butterflies.
That's so nice. So what I might do is go into your Facebook group and ask them.
Okay.
And if you have the time, I'm going to recommend it would be 2 hours a month.
Oh, I can definitely do 2 hours a month.
Like it'd be like the first Wednesday and maybe the third Wednesday of the month. You're just going to meet on Zoom. You're going to have your another Facebook group that's for your paid members where they can talk. And you just need 12 topics for a year, because the second time will just be questions, crocheting together.
Yeah.
And that ultimately the goal is to get the community talking to you and talking to each other.
Right. Okay.
Because the idea is that you find those people who cannot wait to show you and show each other what they are creating. Like, I'm sure your husband loves what you do because he loves you, but he's not going to get as like jonesed up about something you've done.
No, he's excited. He's so supportive, but yeah, he has no idea what I'm doing.
But to find those people who will be like, oh, Courtney, how did you do that? Or to have somebody in your community saying, you're not going to believe what I did, or I tried that thing, I was nervous and it worked. That being around those people is so, I don't know, I'm going to call it life affirming.
Right. We call it squirrel in the fiber community. Like, ooh, squirrel. Right. So I have two dear friends. We've become friends over the years because we started as accountability partners.
Where did you meet?
Through Facebook, through a Facebook group. Because we were all aspiring designers. One, she crochets, and so she does everything. She's freaking amazing. The other, she does knit and crochet. And so we started probably 7 years ago because my twins were babies when I first
connected with them.
And
do they have businesses as well?
They do. One actually just sold her business to retire, and the other, she's still running her business, and she has an amazing goal because she's going to purchase herself a new car with her business earnings this year. So she is on track with that.
Nice.
But we meet regularly, and that's why I say don't do it alone, because there are times I have ideas. My husband, he's amazing, but he doesn't understand the nuances of being a fiber artist and how we do certain things. Like blogging is a big part of it because I put the pattern instructions up there for free, and you have the option to buy the PDF that we don't have to worry about the ads, and you usually get more details. So that's the thing, is be willing to learn and don't do it alone. And don't listen to the naysayers. There's always going to be someone upset on the internet, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
That's so nice. Okay. Well, Courtney, this is really, I'm so glad that we've become friends, and that you inspired me as well, and has made me say, oh, we are on the right track in terms of, just like what you just, like, we're not for everybody.
Right.
If you want right now the upsells, and again, with MiloTree, you can do coupons, you can create bundles, you can do upsells. But in terms of these very intricate funnels, and by the way, this is interesting, nobody has reached out to me to say I want a more complicated funnel. Which
I doubt they ever will.
When you sign up for these complicated tools, you think, great, I'm going to have these elaborate funnels. And and so we are always listening. Like, if you're a MiloTree customer and you've got feedback for me, I would love it. Please let me know. And we hear the certain things over and over again. Like, we want this feature. And if we hear it a bunch of times, we get really serious about building it. However, it's funny, the things I don't hear. So talking to you validates to David and me, oh, this is where people struggle. I struggle. He struggles. So maybe we could solve this problem. because you had reached out to me and I had said, hey, could we get on a call so I could hear what your experience has been, because you were so positive that I was like, can I hear in your words your experience?
Yes. No, and I appreciate your willingness to do that, because it feels like each few months it's getting harder and harder to get support with certain products, right? Or services. It's just like you can't actually get a human online in a chat or anything to help solve a problem. So I love how responsive y'all are when there is a question. Like most of them, I'm shocked at how quickly y'all respond. I'm just like, wow, they are on top of this.
Oh, because again, we care, and you're going to talk to David or me or one of our teammates, but we're a small team and we want you to succeed. And we see the patterns. Like I'm saying to you, Courtney, do think about a membership if you have the time. It doesn't have to be now, but put that in the back of your mind, because the crafters, if they can build that community and get recurring revenue, you're not having to make that sale over and over again.
Exactly, because that's so hard.
You know? Or if you can get the sale, put something else in front of them related as an upsell, because again, that one customer, if they can buy more from you in that if you made it easy to go, well, I know you like this. I always use this example. I know you want the hat. Then if I can sell you the gloves, it makes sense. So be thinking about how to offer the whole package. But I just, love the way you are. I love that you're creative.
No, I love being a fiber artist. Again, I can take a ball of yarn and a crochet hook, and with enough time, I can turn it to anything. I usually surprise myself when I finish some of my designs.
I love that. So, Courtney, if people want to reach out to you, see your beautiful designs, if they have a question for you, where should they go?
Yes. My website is creationsbycourtney.com. That's where you can find all of my crochet patterns, tutorials, and other things related to crochet. And I am Creations by Courtney LLC on Instagram and Facebook. I really love hanging out on Instagram because I just love the pictures and the videos and connecting with people. And you can also join my Facebook group, Confidently Crochet with Creations by Courtney. We have fun. We laugh. We share our pictures. We ask questions. It's just a good old time.
Okay. And I will have all those links in the show notes. So if you just scroll down, you'll find them. Well, I have to say, Courtney, I look forward to watching your journey. And I've learned so much about this super cool niche that after we get off this call, I think I am following you on Instagram, but I am going to go to your Instagram just to see all of your beautiful designs.
Thank you.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
I hope you guys loved this episode. My biggest takeaway, simplicity is key. Courtney's story is a great reminder that while there are tons of amazing tools out there, if they're too complicated, they end up being barriers instead of solutions. That's why I believe so strongly in making tech easy, so that you can spend less time on the back end and more time doing what you love. If you're inspired by this episode and want to start selling digital products, growing your email list, and building your social media followers, check out MiloTree, where you can now get started for free. No credit card required. And truly, we see your success as our success. So again, go to MiloTree.com and start making money today. If you think a friend would benefit from this episode, please share it. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, I'd love it if you subscribed. I'd love it if you left a review wherever you're listening. And I will see you here again next week.